Here's a classic pistol right here, guys. This is the Smith&Wesson 5906 in 9mm, and I just picked this up tonight from my FFL dealer, and I got this off of Gunbroker. And this was a very, very classic handgun and popular handgun back in the 90s. And even though you don't see them too much anymore, still a very classic handgun. Like I said, this is the Smith&Wesson 5906, and this one, it came with 3 Smith&Wesson 15-round magazines. Okay, they have orange followers on them, and of course it is used, but it's in very, very good condition. I would put this at 90%. Honestly, I think it's 95%, but just to be safe, I'm going to call it 90%. And I got this for $359, okay, and then with $30 shipping, and then the fee I pay my FFL, but under $400. I got this Smith&Wesson 5906 with 3 15-round magazines. Honestly, it's in very good condition. Very smooth action. Built extremely well. You know, it's heavier than your modern polymer guns, of course. This is a steel frame. It's not aluminum, so you have steel slides, steel frame. But honestly, for the size of it, considering the weight, it's very balanced in the hand. I don't think it's ridiculously heavy. Honestly, I really don't have any complaints about the weight. You know, there is a little bit of weight to it, but honestly, I think it's perfect. And it's extremely comfortable. This is more comfortable, in my opinion, than a Beretta M9. It kind of has the same kind of safety as a Beretta M9. The safety is on the slide itself, and it's also a decocker. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And this gun does have a magazine disconnect. Okay, you cannot pull the you can't work the double action, or even if it's cocked, you can't fire it if the magazine's out of the gun. Put the magazine in, boom. Alright, pretty nice double action pull. I would say 9 or 10 pounds, maybe about 9. Okay, and then single action, about 4 pounds, I'm guessing. It's not the best trigger. Like I said, this is not really a competition type gun. This was made, you know, mostly for law enforcement and self-defense. Okay, but it is a very accurate pistol. My dad had one of these many years ago, and I remember shooting fairly accurate with it. Of course, I didn't have a lot of practice with it, and then he ended up selling it, and I don't know, after a while, over the years, I kind of wanted one again. And then, you know, if you watch some of the movies from the 90s, like Reservoir Dogs, everybody in that movie has a 5906, and I just saw that movie recently, and it kind of gave me the bug to get another 5906. So I came across this one on Gunbroker, and I couldn't pass it up, especially for the condition that it's in. You know, these are the original black plastic grips. There's some checkering to them. Very good condition. A lot of times they were replaced with the hoe grips, which are pretty cool, but I like the original plastic Smith&Wesson grips. If you look at the sights on this one, you can see it's your standard fixed rear sight. Sometimes they came with adjustable sights, and then it would have that leaf to protect it. It's like a, you know, like a protective ear or whatever you want to call it. Some of them, the trigger guards, had a little bit of a different shape to it. This one's just a regular look, and that's why I like this pistol here. Okay, the barrel says 9mm Parabellum. Okay, Smith&Wesson, Springfield, Massachusetts, USA, model 5906. And right here on the frame, you got your Smith&Wesson trademark, your logo. Okay, yeah, standard 3-dot sights. I might get some white paint and revive the white dots. Okay, but yeah, guys, built very well. I love it. The magazines are steel. Okay, it's kind of a satin finish to it, and you know, along the corners and edges of the muzzle here, you can kind of see where it was polished from taking it in and out of the holster. But of course, you expect that. You know, the description on Gunbroker when I got this said that this was a former police gun, and I believe it just because the sights aren't adjustable as your standard, uh, you know, grip panels here. This was a very, very popular handgun for law enforcement back in the 90s, and even into the early to mid 2000s, depending on what police department, we're talking about. I've heard that they're still used today in some police departments. I don't know about that, but I just know for a long time this was a very popular handgun, very common to see for law enforcement. And even for civilians back in the 90s and early 2000s, this was a very popular handgun. And like I said, you don't see these too much anymore, but they are around. Still a very classic handgun, even though it's kind of been replaced by the M&Ps and Glocks and so on and so forth. Still a very, very classic handgun. Honestly, I would choose this over a Beretta M9, without a doubt. I got this shoulder holster for it. This is made by DeSantis. This is a nylon shoulder holster. And the gun sits horizontally like that. Okay. And then on this side you have 2 magazine holders here. And then it comes with these clips to clip onto your pants. I still have to adjust it to fit myself, but that's pretty cool. I got that for like $65 on Midway. But yeah, guys, Smith&Wesson 5906. I think it's an awesome looking pistol. Real excited about it. I got to take it apart and lube it up. It looks pretty clean to me. I've looked on the inside of it. Honestly, it looks very clean, but I would like to lube it up a little bit. And yeah, very happy I got one back. If you ever see the movie Training Day with Denzel Washington, he carried the 4506. He had 2 of them, but it looks very similar to this. It's a little bit bigger. I think it's shaped a little bit differently as well. And yeah, that was a 45 ACP, but it looks very similar to the 5906 in 9mm. Alright. Pretty cool. Came with 3 magazines. Love it. And yeah, guys, very happy to have this to my collection. And let me know what you guys think. Alright, comment, and see you soon.